As the royals, like the rest of us, look ahead to 2023, they will no doubt be reflecting on a bittersweet 2022. The past 12 months have seen a multitude of changes since the death of the late Queen and the accession of King Charles, not least for Prince Edward's wife Sophie, the Countess of Wessex. Sophie has had a life-changing year that has seen her profile within the royal family grow ever bigger. She's also had to see her eldest child off to university, been part of a historic world first, and deal with the death of her beloved mother-in-law. Here we look back on her bittersweet year. Death of her mother-in-law the Queen. One of the most poignant photos taken in the days after the Queen's death showed a devastated Sophie consumed in grief. The moment doctors declared they were concerned for the late monarch's health, Sophie, along with Edward, Prince William and Prince Andrew, dashed up to Balmoral to be by her side. She and the now Queen consort Camilla were the only non-blood relatives to be there in the hours after she passed away, but Sophie is said to have been like a second daughter to the late monarch, often described as the Queen's favorite. Living just 10 miles away from Windsor Castle at their residence in Bagshot Park, Surrey, the Wessexes frequently visited the Queen and would spend time together on long dog walks. Sophie reportedly lent on Her Majesty when her own mother passed away in 2005, and they became close confidants. The Queen personally invited her to travel to several church services, and they were said to have bonded over watching old films together. After the Queen's death, Sophie looked devastated as she read tributes left at the gates of Balmoral where the monarch died, and was also spotted looking emotional at the state funeral. Lady Louise goes to university. However, it is not the only change Sophie has seen when it comes to her private life. In August there was cause for celebration when her oldest child, Lady Louise Windsor, 19, received her A-level results. She earned the grades in order to secure a place at St Andrews University in Scotland, and she has since fled the nest in order to get stuck into uni life. This will have no doubt pleased mum of two Sophie, who previously talked about her daughter's education, saying that she hoped Louise would go to university, but insisted she wasn't putting any pressure on her to go. New roles. Meanwhile, when it comes to her royal duties, it seems like the 57-year-old is in line for some key roles. That's because the Mirror learned earlier this year that the Countess will be handed a raft of the Queen's royal patronages as a gift from her beloved late mama. A royal source said, "The Queen and the Countess had a fantastically warm and joyful relationship. Her Majesty admired Sophie's quiet sense of duty, her strong work ethic and the way she balanced her public and family lives." They also shared many of the same interests. The Queen's decision to pass on these patronages reflects the closeness of their bond. Sophie's growing popularity with the public is also evident, and she will take on a larger public profile in a new-look monarchy of King Charles. Sources suggest the patronages earmarked for Sophie to take over include the Women's Institute and Dogs Trust. She is already patron of over 70 charities and organisations, such as Childline and Blind Veterans UK, and has been widely praised for her dedication and empathy. And earlier this month, she and Edward were the royal guests of honour at the Royal Variety Performance for the first time. Royal first. Meanwhile, she is seen as such a trusted pair of hands. She was also allowed to carry out a historic royal first this year. In October, she became the first member of the royal family to visit the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC. The official trip came at the request of the Foreign Office and was focused on addressing the devastating impact of sexual and gender-based violence in conflict while supporting and empowering survivors and tackling the stigma they face. As part of her engagements there, she warmly embraced world-renowned surgeon and Nobel Peace Prize laureate Dr. Denis Mukwege. A smiling Sophie put her arms out and hugged Dr. Mukwege, who greeted her at Panzi Hospital in Bukavu, South Kivu Province. She toured the hospital, including its newly opened operating room, spent time with some of the survivors being cared for at the Panzi, and spoke to its team of experts. Meanwhile, the year finished on a seeming professional high for Sophie as she was presented with a prestigious award. She was one of 5 recipients of a Hillary Rodham Clinton Award that recognized her work focusing on sexual and gender-based violence in conflict. Others that received the award this year included the First Lady of Ukraine Olena Zelenska,